Thank you.
Thanks, Anita and Jean. Hmm. And yeah, how about all of us? Thanks for showing up, for joining in practice, for continuing this investigation of Dana, this giving. You know, that's good in the beginning, in the middle, and afterward. Right now, what we can do is kind of give just a few more minutes, maybe 10 minutes, to just settling in a bit more these words that have been offered so far, and the intentions that might be supporting your presence here are shared intentions around goodness of some form. I have confidence, some forms of goodness. And there is a goodness to just simply offering the body the gifts of mindfulness, to remember the guideline pause, to recollect mindfulness, and then to receive. This gift of taking refuge in awareness and receiving breath by breath. Bodily sensation by bodily sensation. There's all the mental activity, the thinking, emotions, all those feeling tones of the heart mind, all the stories, all the habits. So letting the mind receive the invitation to just let go. All that mental activity, just, it's okay to relax, release where possible. Touched by the thinking, feeling, emotions, and just knowing that, and allowing mindfulness of all of that. No need to get caught up in it. It's just that. And coming into the speed of the body, the sensations. The in breaths and the out breaths. And just knowing, breathing. Short breaths and longer breaths. Each breath a gift of life. The inhalation is welcome, and the exhalation is welcome. The giving and releasing. And the goodness for the body in the breathing in and the breathing out. And that mysterious area, the transition between the in-breath and the out-breath, and between the out-breath and the in-breath, that mystery there. To just allow awareness of this changing from taking in to releasing out. This flow. The gift of knowing breathing. The way it gives mindfulness, depth, widens and broadens, brings us in community with the whole wide planet. Life-giving air. This beautiful simplicity, the way it simplifies to give time and energy to breathing and knowing breathing and taking refuge in awareness. Hmm. And now another welcoming after some shared, mostly silent practice, some guidance, me speaking, you all listening, receiving. I'm going to begin for the three of us today, guiding this practice. And as we proceed, each one of us will kind of offer a little introduction into our particulars. I would like to begin with this first noticing that we're all here together again. We're our meditation partners. And in this opening sort of preview of practice, you'll be meditating with some of these people in triad practice. We'll have two different sessions with those partners in triads. If the math doesn't work out, there might be a smaller grouping of two. And then we'll come back together. Nancy will actually guide us with our large group contemplation, and Moriah and I will offer the first two contemplations. And we want to gain our understanding, our direct understanding of Dana together, because learning with friendship there as one of the bases, Sangha as one of the bases, is such a beautiful part of our practice. So both triad, where you can listen deeply and speak truthfully and be listened to. We'll have a little bit of open dialogue before we come in back into the main room for large group practice again. A couple of things have inspired Nancy and Moriah and I in offering this practice. We, like most of us, have come together in retreat practice, but we also have shared an awful lot of time in service teams to the Insight Dialogue community. And so we have been able to give in service together and learn what the various gifts of that are. And so over and over again, we have come back to wanting to investigate service when giving is actions, when it's your time, your energy, your skills, that kind of service. And we hope to be able to emphasize service within the Inside Dialogue community. And we realize that maybe that all of you haven't had opportunity to give service within the community. Give your time and energy, your skillfulness to the support teams. So we also want to include other places in your life, your family, your neighborhoods, community, workplaces, other spiritual groups, just to allow reflection on what it is to give for the benefit of others, to on purpose, maybe join together with others if you have that good fortune, and give for the benefit of others. And so that service idea and the excerpt from the Mahānāma Sutta, we'll print the link later. The Buddha, as often did, invited people to reflect on wholesomeness, on goodness, on virtue. And generosity is one of those things. And so in this sutta that I'll just read a sentence or so to you, and I've changed the pronouns just for comfort, for inclusiveness. The sutta is at any time when a disciple of the Noble Ones is recollecting generosity, One's mind is not overcome with passion, not overcome with aversion, not overcome with delusion. One's mind heads straight, based on generosity. So let's see what happens around this delusion and aversion and passions as we contemplate generosity in the form of giving actions. As a seed for your triad practice, I'd like to offer that my path of service in this eightfold path really deepened when Greg invited me into teacher development. And that gave me active participation in the Teachers Council, the Guiding Sangha. These are the governing bodies of the Insight Dialogue community. I'm not a policy sort of person, is how I've thought of me. How this happened is amazing, but it has happened. And the benefit, the different teams and experiences this has led me into have been beautiful. And sometimes it hasn't been so beautiful. Because, you know, my heart wants to give, but there's not always the time, energy, and skill. Sometimes I get overcommitted. Sometimes I just can't do a thing. So I would like to invite you all to investigate when you give your time, energy, your actions. But let's just begin 5 minutes each around the caution, around the shadow side, where you have to be wise, because you know that sometimes the heart of giving isn't wise, says yes too fast, too much, when the timing's not right. So let's take some time before we move into the other bright side of giving service, where it might not be wise. Take your time as you reflect on times when giving hasn't been beneficial. Check, relax into your mind body, feel what happens, receive. Notice if there are habit patterns, attitudes of the mind. As you explore when giving action, time and energy has been unwise or could be unwise. Listen to each other deeply and speak truthfully. Oh, I just remembered something. We have support available in the main room. Is that right? Yeah. So if anything happens and you feel like you need support during this practice, please, you can come back to the larger room as you take this first phase when giving is unwise.
Is it
Enjoy your
clear
practice.
that it's, Mary, I'm not sure if it's clear, separate listener and speaker, just one more time. Yeah, 5 minutes each.
5 minutes each, and we won't have an open dialogue, just 5 minutes to speak to this shadow side of giving. Are there questions? Oh, please, Zoom hosts, help us out here. And there will be. Are we back? So again, we're back. Oh, I didn't see you earlier, Bante. Oh, yes, we're back and things are different. Isn't that life? And speaking of different, you now get a new voice. This is when Moriah is going to guide us. So thank you for continuing practice, this shared reflection. And please, Moriah, if you'll guide us now.
I'm just noticing a lot of joy because we were noting, we're from the East and the West, North America, Europe, Asia, Australia. It's amazing. So I hope that this first contemplation, exploring maybe the shadow side of giving a service and the times when it's unwise, that perhaps it's been helpful to do this with your spiritual friends, looking at the ways the heart can be closed. I've been reading the Zen teacher Norman Fisher's book, The World Could Be Otherwise, where he explores generosity and giving so beautifully. And he pointed out, in order to develop giving, we have to become diligent students of our own minds, to notice in detail where we feel pinched, small, or fearful. And when we can see this without judgment or aversion, when we can share this in insight dialogue, it allows us to see a little more clearly, maybe, where our hearts are closed or where, giving can be unwise. But we're going to turn now towards the gifts of giving and what gives us joy. And I'm going to repeat this sutta again, the Mahānāma Sutta. The Buddha said, at any time when a disciple of the noble ones is recollecting generosity, one's mind is not overcome with passion, not overcome with aversion, not overcome with delusion. One's mind heads straight based on generosity. So we're going to turn our attention to the many ways our acts of service and giving flow freely, easily, perhaps with an open heart. Maybe it's not always so easy, but the heart is open. And where we practice giving while we release expectation or attachment. And as Mary mentioned already, these opportunities for giving as service are so many. And there are material gifts, which is the sharing of, financial resources and gifts. There's the gift of mindfulness and practice that we're giving each other today. Gifts of love, gifts of your time, skills, and attention. Perhaps it's doing something simple for a friend, like sending a card, making a phone call because they've been having a rough week. Or maybe it's helping a family member when there's need. My husband every morning washes the dinner dishes from the night before, cleans the counters, sweeps the floor, does such a better job than I would ever do. And it's such a gift for me. And then there's ways that we're engaged and committed to caring for our community, for our environment, helping those perhaps who are less fortunate, migrants fleeing violence, homelessness on our streets. Or perhaps your giving easily and joyously is closely connected to your love of Dhamma, right? Teaching, facilitating, hosting for online gatherings. And I have found myself very engaged too. I participate in the Wednesday Idea Facilitator cohort. I'm also engaged in a number of teams that support the Insight Dialogue community, the Guiding Sangha. It's a leadership body. I'm now on a fundraising team, and I swore at one time I'd never fundraise again, but I'm actually finding it joyous. I'm on the practice opportunity and events team with both Jean and Nancy. We've been gathering together now for, 7, 8 years. Just always considering what can be helpful, in making practice available online or in person. So this service supports the thriving of this beautiful relational ID practice. And it's really a joy to come together, connect, and serve. And we also get to learn, right? Because sometimes we show up and we're not so centered, or we find ourselves feeling tension as we talk about something. And so we have this chance to pause together and learn and grow together. So that happens too. So the contemplation question for you as you're going to return to your triads. Once again, you're invited to remember and to share your own acts of generosity and service. The small and simple everyday ways that you're generous, or ways perhaps you consider serving a community of practice, like our ID community, or other ways you give to a community at large. So I invite you right now to just pause. See what arises when you ask yourself that question. What are some of the ways that I give, share, and serve? Simply, easily, to loved ones or community. When you do that, notice how it feels in the body-mind. Can you receive the benefit of your generosity, that gift for yourself, and the gift for others? So I invite you to do this with each other as you enter back into the breakout room. So we'll have, at the time here, partner shares, receiving their generosity and service. And then you might notice that something else arises around giving or service that you might like to share again. So it could be kind of a round for each of you. And one of the beautiful things, of course, about practice is that sometimes our meditation partners remind us of our own ways of serving and giving. Oh yeah, I do that. So, and the final invitation here is notice how this open practice is an opportunity, right? We're giving and receiving, being generous in this moment as we speak the truth and as we listen deeply. Any questions? And so off you go, and Bhante will stay in the room with us and practice. And I think we're all back. So we're going to just take a minute just to let you move your body. Get a sip of water or tea, or I confess on my part, coffee. Oh, here comes Patricia. We weren't all back. Yeah. So just move. Just let your body, because we hold ourselves so still when we're in practice. I'm even going to stand up. Just feel like what that feels like to stand up for just a second. Stretch. Oh. Swing my arms. Oh. Right, this gift of this body that we can be here together. When we sit so still sometimes, right? The body goes, oh, let me move. So I know I'm noticing the gifts of this last practice, and I'm going to turn this over to Nancy, and she's going to bring us all together again for a large group practice. So thank you, Nancy.
Yeah, thanks, Moriah. That was nice to move a bit. Moriah, we're only seeing your eyes. That's better. Thank you. My preference to see your whole face. So we've spent some time in our smaller groups recollecting generosity. And how is it now? Is your mind headed straight? That's what the Buddha said. We'd have our minds headed straight. So, oh, and I didn't do anything really to introduce myself. I think most of you I have had the privilege to practice with before, and I could tell you that my service, I'm as Mary and Moriah mentioned, I do serve on some teams together, and the benefits to my spiritual practice have been immense. And one of the ways I get really a surprising amount of joy is being able to serve as a Zoom host for different Insight Dialogue events that happen. And that's probably where I have had contact with many of you before, when I get to do that Zoom hosting job that really I didn't do any over the summer, and I felt a longing to be back Zoom hosting. So I'm really pleased that I'm over on the west coast of Canada. So from my little corner of the world, I get to interact with so many spiritual friends from all over. And as we came on today, I'm just really touched, as Moriah was mentioning too, we're really from all over. And I see, yeah, friends from everywhere. And it's really great that we're here together. And in our small group in the main room, we did talk about how the generosity of the highest generosity is to share the Dhamma. And by coming together today, we have all contributed to this. We couldn't share the Dhamma without someone to listen and someone to speak to. And so we have done this together, this highest Dhamma, sharing together. So yes, so now I would like to, that's my little opening for our large group sharing of what's in the body now, what's in the mind, as we've experienced this collective stepping into this field of dana and the giving that's inspired, and the maybe there's joy. For me, there's such an enrichment of spiritual friendship. So as we recollect generosity, and I'll open the floor to what's true now. Thanks for your practice. So, oh, I'm really appreciating this virtual meditation hall and the generosity of you community members to join us here today. So I'm just going to encourage you to come back if you've been a little bit outward focused, maybe come back to inner focus. Maybe notice what's going on with the breathing and with the heart. This heart is softened for sure. And I am confident there is goodness generated here in our time together. And I offer the wish that this goodness be shared among all beings everywhere, large and small, swimming and flying and walking and burrowing underground. May all beings benefit from the Dhamma. May all beings be safe and protected. May all beings be well. May all beings, including ourselves, be at peace. May there be peace. As my friend Holly says, may we be peace. May there be perfect peace.
I would like to share my gratitude and thank your great support and help to make retreat in Sri Lanka. So I highly appreciate it will happen. I hope around more than 20 monks and some nuns will attend, around 50 people. I hope it. And so next week. So I'm very happy and thank your generosity and dedication, the Sangha and all. So I would like to share some pictures later. Thank you.